Hey Hearties, I'm Casey.
And I'm Cammie. Welcome to the Hearties Hotline,
your connection to Hope Valley.
We want to give a shout out to our friends at Edify Films, where you can get fabulous When Calls the Heart merchandise, like my hat.
And you can also get a fun When Calls the Heart game from our friends at the Bundle Game. Be sure to use discount code Hearties Hotline for 10% off.
We've got a fabulous episode for you today, full of laughter, tears, and heart.
So take a walk with us to Hope Valley and let's dive in. Welcome back, Hearties. We are here to continue our discussion of When Calls the Heart, Season 8, Episode 2. Honestly, Elizabeth, and again, we have Cammie and Lauralyn here to dive into all the details. Now, you're getting a twofer this week because yesterday we talked all about the last 5 minutes, the tumultuous 5 minutes, the very mind-blowing 5 minutes. Today,
and we didn't get to anything else. So.
There was a lot to unpack. I mean,
there was a lot.
Totally.
It was jammed.
It was jammed. I mean, John Tinker was not kidding.
He was not kidding. And Brian Bird was not kidding. No more cagey, just truth. There was a lot of truth in that last 3 minutes.
Yeah, there sure was. Now, hopefully today's a little bit of a lighter episode for you because we are back into bopping around Hope Valley, checking everybody out and like saying, hey, what's everybody up to? And so we're going to talk about the townspeople. And we're going to not talk about anybody else except for just the townspeople. But first, let's dive into Mrs. Helen Bouchard, who has been holed up in her room for the last a few days. She's not wanting to leave. She's a bit spicy or a bit icy. Spicy and icy.
Icy.
Yeah. A bit of both. Helen and her story. I mean, at first, I really thought that the drama was going to be with Helen. I really thought she was going to be I thought it was going to be this whole thing about, I don't know, I'm going to call Elizabeth out and tell her you are in love with two men. How dare you? My son is he's worthy of you and blah, 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 blah. And your writing is terrible. And I really thought it was going to be one of these things where Elizabeth's just going to have to do her little Elizabeth Thornton magic and win her over and stuff. But they were she was won over after a couple scenes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was fast. It was really fast.
I mean, but it was fast, but I think that part of that has to do with Hope Valley magic, not just Elizabeth Thornton magic. There's something very special about being in Hope Valley and being surrounded by so many people who care so much about each other. And she being Helen, she has seen how smitten her son is. It's very, very obvious. And we don't know what he's written home about her, but Helen said she seems special. Lucas immediately affirms she is. Mm-hmm. Helen says she's the reason you have decided to stay in Hope Valley. Immediately affirms, yes, she is. Mm-hmm. I assume you and the constable are vying for Miss Thornton's hand. Well, you're just teeming with insights. I totally thought he was going to deny it. I totally thought he was going to deny it, but he basically affirmed it. Mm-hmm. So I think that not only did the Hope Valley magic work on her a little bit, but Helen is being forced to see Elizabeth in a way that she has never seen any other writer that she's edited for, because her son is in love with her and she has got to figure out what her future feelings are going to be for this woman that very well might be her daughter-in-law.
Or might not be her daughter-in-law.
Or might not be her daughter-in-law.
Which I feel like that's a little scarier, to be honest, but okay.
Right. But I think that she came into town the way that she goes anywhere else. But then she was forced to look at Elizabeth a different way. And I love what she says between her writing and the way she presents herself. I think I'm going to like Miss Thornton. And then what does Lucas say? She has that effect on people. So she is forced to look at Elizabeth in a different way. And then we get the most telling piece of evidence of all. It's all a facade. She's hiding behind this brusque taskmaster of an editor because she's grieving the fact that her husband has left her.
Yeah.
No, this man who courted her for 5 years, if we remember.
Yeah. Let's talk about that for a second.
Yes.
So, Helen, first of all, she insists on being called Helen, not Mrs. Bouchard. That's like a key giveaway. Second, she obviously
was trying to be liked while maintaining a formal boundary. It was very interesting because it wasn't a warm, oh, call me Helen. It was Helen. It was a correcting thing.
Yeah.
It was a correcting attitude. So it was as if she was trying to be informal and be liked while maintaining a formal distance. It was a very interesting dynamic.
Yeah. And like where I was going was like she knows stories, she knows books, she talks about the facade, she tells Elizabeth how honest she is and how real she is and how sometimes she hides behind a facade too. And the fact that she told Elizabeth that her husband Lucas's father had left her, but she is not wanting to tell Lucas, obviously. I mean, and the fact that we know that Lucas kind of he has a very odd relationship with his parents. So he seems very distant from them, but then at the same time, he also seems very close to them. Like he talked to Elizabeth how, oh, we went to, Germany was one of my favorite places and this happened here and we went here. And he talks very fondly of his family. And he even talks about how his father pursued his mother for 5 years. And now it's like all a lie. I mean, like one would see that as a lie. Like, I thought you guys were in love all of this time and now I'm a grown person and then you're going to get divorced? Like, what?
Well, and he's also very knowing of his mother's habits. I mean, when she corrected him, the word is finished, not done. I was like, oh my gosh. I was raised by an English major, so I know what that's like. Luckily, I grew up knowing and wanting to speak correctly as well. So I didn't get in as much trouble as my brothers. But he was not the least bit surprised when she corrected his word usage. And you have a good influence on her. My mother usually works late. He's very, very familiar with her patterns. He's very familiar with her personality and the way she does things. And so for him to find out this, that she is hiding behind a facade because his father has left to go to London and we have no idea when or if he is going to return, that would shake everything up in Lucas's brain. And I don't think that she wants to do that because for all her formality, she loves her son.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I feel like, go ahead.
Oh, this may be kind of sort of going off, I'm not sure, but Lucas's perception on love is based on his parents' love story. And when you have something that is that deeply held inside, based on someone you love that much, and then it's going to be gone. And, it will feel like a lie in a sense because of that. What is that going to do to Lucas? I mean, he's going to be heartbroken. And I mean, my heart hurts now thinking of how he's going to take it. Especially if he knows, one, his mom's been hiding it from him, and two, if he finds out Elizabeth knew and she didn't tell him either, I don't know how he's gonna react, but it has the potential to be a very powerful storyline, and I think it's gonna make him rethink a few things too.
I didn't even think of that. I mean,
he could have some major rethinking.
Oh yeah.
And it could give him even more drive to make a relationship with Elizabeth work. We just don't know. We don't know how he is going to take it.
Right. It could be anything. I mean, he believes in soulmates, right? Which
he does.
And I mean, and then you find out that the soulmates that you base that theory on are no longer together. It's like, I already want to give him a hug. He hasn't been found out yet.
Come here, Luke.
No, I know. And that's the other thing too. Like Lucas, so neither Nathan nor Lucas had a lot of scenes in this episode. Oddly enough,
they really didn't.
It was kind of surprising.
It was very sparse, but like, I mean, Lucas is 1-2 for 2 for me. Like so far, I really liked all his interactions with Elizabeth, and I loved his interactions with his mom. I mean, sometimes they say the way that a man treats his mom is the way he's going to treat his wife, and so I really, really appreciated the fact that he was very worried about her, like being so cooped up, and he knew her habits, and he was very caring towards her. He escorted her around town and everything. Like he's very chivalrous.
Checking up on her.
Yeah. They had like lots of great little moments, but you're right. What is this going to do to him? I mean, is he going to fight, flight, or freeze? That's what I keep coming to. Because like that's big. If my parents announced to me, and they've been married for over 30 years, 33, 34, something like that, over 30 years. And they just dropped the bomb on me and say, if my mom came to me and said, your father left me, I'd be like, you're joking, right? Wait, what? What? But, and like I would probably question like my whole life and like the moments that I saw with my parents and just all these different things. And that's very hard. That's very hard, especially when, that's your role model. Those are the people you've looked up to. That's who shaped your ideas of love and everything. So, oh boy, I feel very nervous for Lucas and how he's going to react. I feel nervous about how he's going to react when he realizes that Elizabeth knew, because yes, I mean, for sure, Elizabeth should not say anything to anybody, despite the fact that she kind of already did to Rosemary. But
Rosemary's gotten a lot better.
Yeah, but still, this is like
to herself when she needs to.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough, but still, this is like.
Oh yeah, Rosemary's justification of, it's not gossip if it involves you. Like, oh honey.
yeah. I mean, it didn't really involve Elizabeth, but
you're just trying to say you're just
justifying the situation.
Let me say that again. You're just trying to satisfy your curiosity, darling.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Well, and on top of everything that is going on with Mother and Elizabeth, Lucas now has to consider Henry's offer of bringing him back into the oil business. I mean, Lucas saw how that worked out last time. He's in no hurry to bring him back. He said, I like you, Henry. I don't know why, but I do. Now, why should I do this?
Right. Okay, let's talk about Henry Gowan for a second.
Oh, Henry.
Who do you think he is writing to?
It's the guy. It's the kid. Whoever the kid is.
It's Christopher. It's gotta be Christopher.
I mean, we don't know if Christopher is a nephew or a younger brother or a long lost son. We I mean, we talked all about that in the predictions. Whoever it is, it's Christopher. We just don't know what the connection is.
And clearly it's a very emotional connection for Henry. We haven't seen him quite that riled. Like the way he was yelling at Ned.
Poor Ned! Oh my gosh!
That was horrible. I mean, I kind of understand because clearly Henry's very emotional about something, but we don't know what it is. And so it's like, oh my gosh, Ned, you poor thing. Thank God Florence is there to, kind of be like, you can't treat him this way. But I just don't even know what it could be because whatever it is so important to Henry.
I mean, we just need to get Loretta and Rothger in here so they can tell us about their little, make-believe backstory that's been happening.
Absolutely. But then remember what Henry said when he fell again. When he fell again outside the mercantile, Carson goes out to find him, practically collapsed. I said to myself while I was watching, Carson needs to hang up a second shingle. Physician, psychiatrist.
Yes.
That's what he's doing. Yes. So he needs a second shingle. But did you realize what Henry said to him? He said, yeah, you've told me all about this before. It's my blood pressure. You're a doctor. You've seen a lot of people come into this world and you've seen a lot of people leave this world, but it just doesn't matter what happens in between. I was like, oh, Henry, what's going on? I mean, and all of a sudden he's in such a big hurry to be a partner and a majority partner again in the oil business. I'm wondering if maybe he's thinking he's going to die and he wants to leave some means of support for Christopher, whoever he is. Some kind of legacy of some sort. That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, that was a question I was going to ask you guys is, do you think that Henry thinks, or is Henry dying? Because we know that he has had health issues the last couple seasons now, and I'm not going to lie, when we see him in episode 1, when he's initially mailing this letter, my first thought was, whoa, he looks rough. Like, I mean, honestly,
he looks a lot older than he has in the past, and
he does.
Beard is almost white.
Yeah. And Martin Cummings is very put together in real life and also on the show as Henry. And then all of a sudden he looks like he's very harrowed.
Yeah. And what you do in between just isn't enough, is what he said. I don't think that Henry is dying, but I think that he thinks he's dying. Or Henry is dying and Carson Shepherd to the rescue. He's going to figure out how to save him.
Is he going to be the one that's in the infirmary? Remember the promo with Nathan and Elizabeth, and Nathan puts the coat over her?
Maybe.
I kind of think it is, just because there's no one else there. And I mean, it's a horrible thought, but I feel like
maybe Lee throws his back out again. No,
jeez.
Kidding.
Yeah. So I think it's a very real possibility Henry is in the infirmary and Elizabeth is the only one who was willing to wait for whatever Carson and Faith may be doing on Henry. Because she's not in the infirmary for whatever reason. So I don't know. I don't know. It feels most logical that it's Henry.
Yeah. But then I feel like it would be Lucas that would be sitting out there with Elizabeth and not Nathan. Because Lucas is closer to Henry than Nathan is.
Oh, by all means. Yeah.
A lot. So I mean, I don't know. It'll be interesting for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, here's another fun thing that's been happening in Hope Valley. Somebody opened a new business. Love that they're bringing more levity with Fiona, and she's kind of been the fun storyline here with the guys not wanting to get their hair cut. And Nobody understands nickels and dime, and she has to explain it like 16 times.
And Mike says 3 times, nickels and dimes. That's funny. I'm like, yeah. I don't have to keep humoring me.
Yeah.
I mean, number one, come on, guys, keep up. You know, I mean, it's not that difficult. But while we're on that topic, it's very, not only is it funny that everyone was saying, isn't nickel spelled with a K? You know, but it's very profound that Fiona is so bent on taking a stand that she is going to be her own big wheel and she's not going to step on anybody to do it. She's going to rise to the top through her own wit, through her own hard work, and she is going to make something of herself without degrading others.
Yeah.
It's very profound.
Yeah,
it's full of levity, but it's very profound. Yeah. And then it also really helps that we have ladies pushing their men into the barber shop.
I think that was one of my favorite scenes of the episode, just because it was
they're all crying. Just a trim, right?
Oh my goodness.
Faith and Clara, you're gonna get a haircut, honey.
Oh, so good.
So funny.
Came back.
Okay. Hickam.
I see you, Hickam.
Okay, so
don't pass out.
Right. And another thing here with Hickam. Now, okay, we talked about my husband yesterday with the whole like horse and love analogy. Yeah. We're gonna talk another thing. Fun fact about my husband: he's way more intuitive than I am, and he knows when people are like supposed to be together. It's really weird, but he goes, "Oh, they're gonna get together." Do you think that Hickam has a crush on Fiona? Because we know that he's crushing on someone. And
it's completely her. Yeah.
It's I mean, there's lots of people, but there's only one obvious answer here. But that would be an interesting combination because Hickam's just been like here in the back, you know.
The floater.
He's a floater.
He is a floater. First, he was in charge of putting doves on a diet. Well, first he was actually in the mercantile. Then he put the doves on the diet. Then
building a stage. Don't forget building the stage and planting a tree and building the right spot
and building all those toys. And wasn't it a dollhouse that he built? Like this really extravagant.
He made the plans. He made plans
for it. Okay, yeah. He's very hidden. Now he's in the oil and he's spouting off like nitroglycerin and all this stuff. Like he's honestly,
he gets around.
I mean, honestly, Hearties, no pun intended, but Hickam is a catch. I don't know why when nobody's,
snatched him up.
Yeah.
Well, and his role in the episode was much larger. Much larger than it's been in the past, which leads me to believe that something is going to happen with Mike Hickam that hasn't happened before. He's been the side character. He's been the comic relief, and he was still those things in this episode, but
it was elevated.
It was exactly. Yeah. It was much elevated. He also had serious moments that were very tender a couple of times. Still clueless about nickels and dimes, but he came back. He came back and he made sure that she knew that he came back to finish the haircut, which I thought was so sweet. But yes, his role was elevated. Yeah. I think we're going to see a lot more of Michael Hickam in this season.
I think so too. I think I kind of wonder if that's the whole romance that Pascal said and teased. She said there's lots of romance in Hope Valley. We already know about Flo-Yo. We know about Moby. What is Bill and Molly?
Yeah,
Moby. We know about the triangle. We already know about Rosemary and Lee, Clara and Jesse, Faith and Carson, and all of them. But like, if we had another like sweet love story between Hickam and Fiona, and like Hickam, or Fiona brings Hickam's fun, and Hickam, kind of settles Fiona down and like empowers her to, do her thing. I think it could be really sweet. I'm here for this.
If there's any man in town who will be supportive of a strong woman moving forward,
Michael Hickam.
Michael Hickam.
Michael Hickam. Alrighty. So lots of ideas of love in Hope Valley. So let's talk about an established couple.
Oh, finally.
Rosemary and Lee, my faves. So if you guys had a chance to go listen to the Bubbly Sashes episode on Monday, I highly encourage it. It is really fun. It's actually, they recap this episode with Kevin. And spoiler alert, Kevin actually hurt his back before filming. So this is art imitating life. And so
and making things and enabling the actor to still keep working.
Whoa.
Yeah.
No clue. That's amazing.
Yeah.
He was playing hurt, Hearties. He was playing hurt. Can I just say how elegant he looked in that black robe? I loved that choice of wardrobe. It was so, I don't know, that was a lot more than his man of leisure robe. That was elegant. Wonder if he had that made in South America.
He's married to Rosemary Laveau Coulter, who will settle for nothing but the finest.
Absolutely.
It's a legitimate point.
Have you not seen their bedroom? I mean, come on. It's very ornate.
It's true. And they made stops in Los Angeles, so could have easily gotten a fine new robe there for the cruise.
Yeah.
Shopping
on Rodeo Drive. Fancy. Okay, so we also know from interviews that Kevin and Pascal have done that there's something brewing for these two. Something brewing. And we started to get a little bit of that today on Sunday when she was playing with little Jack and the puppy.
Oh, yes.
Beautiful scene.
So touching.
My heart went out to her because she's like talking as though it's a normal day, and all of a sudden her tone just completely shifts and her countenance completely shifts, and she's like, Lee and I smile, and I'm like, I'm sure you do more than just smile when you hear baby Jack laughing.
Well, and after our talk with Pascal and how she says that she relishes those scenes with the twins because you never know how they're going to react. And so it's always up in the air how the scene is going to go and then how it's going to get edited together. Just to watch her do that performance and play off of him. Because he's not exactly a reliable actor at 2 years old.
Right.
So just to watch her play off of him and to have the emotion while playing off a 2-year-old, it's amazing. It's incredible work.
It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. And I don't know if it's because this scene came a little bit after or whatnot, but like when she sees Opal with the ice cream all over her face, I mean, let's be real. Season 3 Rosemary would have been like, oh, sticky children.
Sticky children, yes.
But she was like, oh, sweetheart. Like,
that must be a yummy ice cream cone.
And I was just like, oh my goodness, give this woman a child.
Yes, they need a child. I don't care how it happens, but Rosemary is made to be a mother, clearly. So she needs either a baby of her own or adopt. I'm guessing adopt, but just they need a child.
Yeah.
talking about that scene with Opal and the ice cream cone, it just made something pop in my head. What if Robert got on Sergeant to show off for Allie?
That's very possible.
It's very possible.
Because he would not admit that to Elizabeth. He would probably rather die than admit that to Elizabeth. But, he was going on about how I'd never ridden before. And, but he has her huge theory about horses.
Horses in love. It goes together.
Horses in love. But
you're right.
Horses in love. And, because he's saying, oh, I could ride that horse. Yeah, I bet you he was showing off for Allie because Nathan said to Elizabeth in the very beginning, Allie has reached that age.
Yeah. And he's about the same age as my nephews, and I know how they can be. So
strut those feathers, Peacock.
Like I know how 7th, 8th, and 9th grade boys can be. I mean, I hear stories, so I would not be surprised if Robert was trying to show off for Allie. Poor thing.
Totally backfired.
Oh my goodness. Poor kid. One other little, actually a few more moments here. We're starting to see a little more flow, It's like we're not seeing a lot of zing yet, but they're building something. They're definitely building something because Florence is automatically like defending.
Stands up for him immediately.
He's like, bam, here we are. But then the other funny moment with Florence is I have never seen Florence so, I don't know, what's like
embarrassed?
Yeah. Usually
hiding her face. Oh, Molly, don't do it. Molly, don't do it.
I mean, usually Flo-Mo is like in sync. They're like usually like in cahoots together, but this time she's like, you're staring. What are you doing? Oh, don't do that. What? Oh gosh, I can't even look at you right now. Like,
you're just hungry. Let's eat.
I need that to be a gift. Loretta's face is brilliant because how many times have we been with a friend and they're about to do something crazy and we're just like, I can't.
Nope.
I can't watch this. I can't look.
And it's like I have to almost watch. It's a train wreck, but I have to keep.
It's so funny.
And then not to mention that Molly's all like up in arms and then she gets embarrassed because she realizes it's Lucas's mother. And then the next thing we know, she's like running out of the cafe. And I'm like, Bill is at the cafe, right? Molly, I mean,
he's been
pulling
to the cafe.
He's there. You're gonna see him. He's making flapjacks or weird chili in the back. I mean, but then she totally turns on Bill, and Bill's all like, "I knew you liked me," and she was like, "Don't flatter yourself." It's like,
I felt so bad for Bill because in the saloon, he's clueless. He has no idea why she's doing what she's doing.
I didn't know.
I do. I didn't know. And then in the street, he's all confident. He's like, "Oh yeah, you have a crush on me." She's like, No, I don't." It's like, ooh, he did say it was going to be a game of cat and mouse, and I'm kind of seeing the hints of that, and I can't wait to see how it plays out for the rest of the season.
I'm very excited.
And just the way that Bill says, "See, you are interested in me." Don't flatter yourself. And then just turns on her heel and walks away.
With a sassy look back.
With a sassy look. Oh, man. And just her, are you under the impression I'm interested in you as a suitor? Just knock him down about 5 pegs, make him question everything he's been told.
Right? It'll be fun. I feel like we need this levity. I feel like we need these other Hope Valley characters just to lighten it up because we can't have something that's so heavy all the time. We can't have something that's so just like a comedy of errors all the time. We need that balance. And I love that they're bringing a fresh perspective to Hope Valley, and they're bringing all these comedic moments.
Speaking of perspective, can we just talk about that camera angle of Lee in the infirmary?
Yes.
Above the bed, above the gurney. That was the best point of view. I loved that camera
that was
angle.
So fun.
It was so perfect because we don't get that angle. We don't get that angle ever. And so for us to just be right on top of Lee, watching his every move and then pick him up. Oh,
poor guy.
His little aside comments like, oh boy, he does it so well.
He improvs so well. He is so natural on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
You never wonder. He's got that same kind of quality as Tyler Hynes. Just that casual, natural flow that you never question if their character is a real person.
Yeah.
You know, it's great. It's fantastic.
It is super fun.
So good.
Well, the last character we're going to touch on before we bid you adieu for the evening or the daytime, whenever you're listening to this, Joseph Canfield, played by the wonderful, delightful Viv Leacock. And he is going to be moving his family to Hope Valley.
And living in Henry Gowan's old cabin.
Okay, first of all, who knew that Henry Gowan had a cabin?
Right? What did Bill get land? What did Henry get a cabin? But anyway.
They don't divulge all their secrets, Lauralyn. They're
that seems like a pretty
some privacy.
Private landowners.
A lot of people have been saying how wonderful. I mean, we all know that Viv Leacock is wonderful. We've seen him in Haley Dean Mysteries. We've seen him in other Hallmark things.
Oh, he's brilliant in Haley Dean.
He's so good. But there is just something about Viv in Hope Valley land and like that universe that just makes me smile and just go, this is gonna be fantastic. Like, I am so excited to meet his family. I am so excited to see what he brings to Hope Valley too, because like at this time we don't really know what his role is going to be in Hope Valley. We have a lot of suspicions. Like, we've heard maybe he's going to open up the gas station. We know he works for the railroad because he's delivering 250 pounds of coffee to Lee and Rosemary's, which like is Lee going to open up Tim Hortons? Is that like what's going to happen up there?
No. See, he's going to keep some for himself, and then he's going to sell some to Bill for the cafe, and he's going to sell some to Lucas for the saloon.
No, he's going to start the first Timmy's in Canada.
Oh, okay.
Tim Hortons. Tim Hortons, founded in 1918 by Leland Coulter. There you have it.
Named after Timmy Layton.
Anyways, but Joseph Canfield, like what are y'all's thoughts about Joseph?
I liked him immediately. I mean, I love Viv Leacock in anything he's in, so I knew I would like him. But Joseph has this, it's like one of those inexpressible qualities where he almost glows from the inside out.
Yeah.
And his interactions with the people of the town, brief though they were, like, he clearly had an impact on Rosemary. I'm still trying to figure out why, because he just said something so simple of, I'm praying for your husband. And she was clearly moved by that. So, that was a sweet interaction, and I can't wait to see what more comes out of there. But then he's so joyful when he's talking to Jesse and when he's talking to Lee, and even when he was talking to Hickam, he just, like I said, he has that intangible quality that has been missing on the show for a while. Like, I think it's been talked about that he could potentially be the new pastor. And I feel like he has a lot of those qualities Frank had, just on a, what did he have? 6-7 minutes of screen time. But there's something about him that just radiates peace and joy. Like, started singing it as well, right? Just randomly walking down the street. Yeah, I think I'm really gonna like Joseph, and I'm so glad he's in Hope Valley.
Yeah.
The word that I would use to describe Joseph is soothing. He has a very soothing presence. He lights up when he talks about his family, and just very peaceful feeling that he has a happy family life. You don't know that there's turmoil yet. We know because of sneak peeks and such, but he doesn't focus on that. He focuses on the serenity that the new home is going to give. He's very polite, and he talks to you with politeness, but also with ease and familiarity, so that you feel like you've known him all your life. I mean, when he shook hands with Gowan and he said, "Call me Henry," I was like, what did you do to him? You can't. And then with Rosemary, I think that part of that was because she had not heard that in a while, and so it struck her as different. But soothing, once again, just knowing that someone, a complete stranger, wants to pray for your husband. So yeah, I would describe him as soothing and as joyful. And I cannot wait. My prediction that there was going to be strife in welcoming a new family, I think there's going to be drama with the whole blindness issue, but for them as a family, it doesn't look like there's going to be any trouble with the town accepting them, which just adds a level, another level of this amazing community feeling. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah. I wonder if Joseph's running theme will be that song "It As Well," just because we know the story of well, we don't know the story. We just know that his daughter is blind. So and we don't know if she was born that way, or if there was an accident that happened. Like we still don't know that backstory, but I kind of have to wonder if that's maybe a running theme song, because he did sing it. I mean, when he was walking back to town. So yeah, lots of fun things. You guys. Next week, and here's the other thing too. We're about to wrap it up here, because this is episode 2 for this very
week
one episode that we've watched. But
we split a 1-hour episode into 2 hours.
There's a lot to digest there, y'all.
There's a lot to digest.
There's a lot to digest. Next week, I mean, I thought we took off running. We really took off sprinting, galloping. No pun intended. But next week, what are you guys feeling about regards to next week's episode from Ashes? I feel like it's going to be just as emotionally like roller coastery.
This week we were galloping. Next week we're going to be exploding. You know,
literally.
Literally.
Yeah.
I mean, my thought is, are we going to put aside everything that was said to save lives here? I cannot get that scene of Nathan helping Lucas up out of my head. And what is Nathan feeling when he helps Lucas up? I just told Elizabeth I love her, and I know that you do too. You know what I mean? Or is he not even thinking about that, and all he cares about is saving Lucas's life? Are we putting everything aside to save lives, or is it constantly running through our brains while we're going through the motions? You just I think I'm gonna need another oxygen tank.
Absolutely.
My first thought is those poor remaining widows that are still in Hope Valley because the boom.
Boom.
Oh,
I did not even think about the boom. Oh my God.
It's been, 8 years since the mining accident? It's been a lumber town. There's no booms with lumber unless a tree is falling down.
Wow.
This is an explosion. This is like very, very on par with the accident, the mine disaster.
Can you imagine what it will look like if they do a close up on Loretta and Johanna's faces?
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm.
So
now I really want that to happen.
Yeah.
Wow.
And also like any of the, remaining children that we don't see that had grown up in Hope Valley and just like that
Emily
flashback.
Emily and Anna are the two children that were in the pilot and are still there.
Yeah. But I'm talking about
two.
the fictional children that we don't see that are still, in Hope Valley, Hope Valley. But I mean, there's only very few that are still remaining in the pilot. I mean, we know that we can't show everybody that lives there and, but it's still one of those moments where you're like, oh, yeah. I think it'll be really exciting. So
I think you're right.
Stay tuned, Hearties. And Hearties, let us know what you think about our episode. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube and on all the audio podcast stuff, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher. And be sure you follow us on Instagram and on Twitter. And wait, there's more. Yes, it's like an infomercial. Just remember that on Sundays and actually any day of the week, really, I have this really fun When Calls the Heart scorecard in which you can log your thoughts about what you thought about this episode in very, emojis or short, fun, sweet moments and stuff. So if you tag us, we'll repost it on our Instagram. And we've been getting a lot of great feedback from that. And it's a lot of fun to see y'all's thoughts. So be sure you guys tune in, let us know your thoughts. And we can't wait. We will see you all
next time.
Buckle up.
Again.
At this point, we're going to need more seatbelts. Straps. Like, oh! Alrighty, bye.